The first thing I remember is the taste of hospital air. It has this strange blend of bleach, sadness, and whatever cheap coffee the nurses are living on. I was sitting in a cold plastic chair in the ER, staring at the curtain in front of me like it was about to open and reveal the end of my marriage. And honestly, it kind of did. I kept replaying the doctor's words in my head, like a song I never asked for and could not shut off. She was brought in by two men. They left after dropping her at the entrance. Yeah, two men. Not one, two. Because apparently, my wife loved a group discount. The doctor kept talking, asking questions, but I wasn't really hearing much. I was just sitting there thinking, this can't be real. There's no way Tessa is this stupid. And right after that thought came another one. Of course she is. You married her, genius. The curtain finally slid open, and the nurse waved me in, which was how I found myself standing beside a hospital bed, looking down at the woman I'd been married to for 10 years. 10 years of bills, arguments, birthdays, Christmases, and her pretending she didn't know where all the spoons disappeared to. 10 years. And now this. Tessa looked rough. Like I lost a fight with a parking lot rough. Her mascara had melted straight down her cheeks. Her hair was glued to one side of her face, and her hospital gown was hanging off one shoulder like she was starring in a low-budget soap opera. She blinked at me, slow and confused. Ethan? Why are you looking at me like that? I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because my brain had reached that special level of stress where laughter and crying start holding hands. Why am I looking at you like that? I said. Well, sweetheart, maybe because you showed up here with two strangers at 1 a.m, half undressed, just a thought. She winced, then put her hand on her forehead. Please don't yell. My head is killing me. I'm not yelling, I said. This is my quiet, calm voice. Trust me, if I start yelling, everyone in this hospital will know. The nurse shot me a look that basically said, Sir, please behave. This isn't a Jerry Springer set. I ignored her. I had bigger problems. Tessa squinted at me, trying to look cute. Failing. Terribly. Ethan, it's not what you think. Then what is it? Tell me the version of the story where two random men bring you to the hospital and run away like raccoons who stole someone's trash. She made a weak sound. I don't remember much. I was drinking. Really? I had no idea. The smell didn't give it away at all. She glared at me. Stop being sarcastic. Stop giving me reasons. Yeah. If anyone's wondering, this was the moment where the tiny, hopeful part of me that believed she might tell the truth died. It passed away peacefully. No funeral. Before I could say anything else, the doctor came in with a clipboard tucked under his arm. He looked at Tessa, then at me, and then stepped aside like he was making sure he wasn't in the line of fire. I spoke with your wife earlier, he said, and she mentioned, she spoke with you? Because she told me she didn't remember anything. Tessa's eyes widened. Ethan! The doctor blinked. Yes, she was awake when she checked in. She filled out her own intake form. I turned my head slowly, like a horror movie character realizing the ghost is standing behind them. You filled out a form? Tessa swallowed. Hard. The doctor, bless his clueless heart, kept going. She listed her emergency contact as someone named, Not me, I said before he finished. Yeah, that tracks. He cleared his throat. And under reason for visit, she wrote, injury during consensual activity. The air in the room froze. Tessa looked like she wanted to sink into the mattress and disappear. I, on the other hand, felt something calm settle over me. Not peace, not acceptance, just clarity. The kind you get right before you do something drastic with zero regrets. The doctor excused himself like a man who suddenly remembered he left the stove on. I sat down in the chair beside the bed. Consensual activity. I repeated. slowly. "Want to run that one by me?" Tessa started crying. "You don't understand." "You're right. I don't understand. Explain it to me. Like I'm stupid. Actually, no. Explain it to me like you're stupid. That might help." She sniffed. "I was lonely." I nodded. "And the solution was 2 men? Did one not meet the loneliness quota?" "Ethan, stop it." I leaned back and folded my arms. "Tessa, this is the part where you tell me you slipped, fell, and landed on 2 strangers by accident. Go ahead. I'm listening." She sobbed harder. "Yeah, that was the moment I knew our marriage was over. Not because she cheated. No, people mess up. People do dumb things. But this? Lying, twisting stories, trying to protect herself instead of admitting she burned the whole house down? That was the real betrayal." I stood up and walked out without saying another word. I'm proud of that. Silence is stronger than shouting. Silence makes people panic. And panic she did. Now, I should probably back up a little and tell you who I am, since you're about to follow me through the messiest chapter of my life. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 38 years old, born and raised in Houston, Texas. I work as a contractor, houses, decks, remodeling, basically anything that requires power tools and swearing under your breath. I'm not fancy. I'm not special. I'm just a guy who believed he married someone with basic common sense.
Clearly, I was wrong. Tessa and I met when we were 26. She was a bartender. I was the guy who tipped too much. She liked that. I liked her smile, which I now realize was only charming because I didn't know what it hid. We dated 2 years, got married, bought a house, adopted a dog named Gus. Life was simple. Boring, even. I liked boring. Boring meant stable. Boring meant normal. Then, somewhere along the way, Tessa got tired of boring. I didn't. She did. And instead of telling me, she decided to go chase excitement in hotel bars like she was auditioning for a very low-budget reality show. But back to the ER. I made it to the parking lot before she called me. Her voice was shaky, like she could hear the divorce papers printing in my mind. "Ethan, please don't leave," she said. "I need you." "Funny," I said. "I didn't see you needing me when those 2 guys carried you through the automatic doors." "That's not fair." "Oh, sweetheart," I said. "Tonight and fair don't even belong in the same sentence." She tried again. "Can you come back?" "No," I said. "You'll be fine. You have plenty of emergency contacts, apparently." Then I hung up. I know. Harsh. But trust me, that was me being polite. I drove home in silence. Gus, the dog, greeted me at the door like I'd just returned from war. Honestly, I felt like I had. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall for a long time. My brain was trying to absorb everything. Her lies, her fear, her stupidity. It felt like drinking from a fire hose. Eventually, I grabbed my phone and did what any husband would do after finding out he's been made a fool of. I looked through her messages. I know it's not morally pure, but neither is whatever she was doing with the hotel guys. Her texts were a disaster, a circus, a full Broadway show of cheating. Flirty messages, photos, hotel reservations, stuff that made my stomach turn and my eyes roll at the same time. At one point, I literally said out loud, "Oh, great, she used my credit card. Perfect. Wonderful. Why not?" By the time I was done reading, something inside me changed. And not in a poetic way. No enlightenment, no deep emotional growth, just a very simple, very clear decision. She wasn't going to get away with this. Not the cheating, not the lying, not the attempt to flip the story and make me the bad guy. No. Tessa wanted excitement. She was about to get a new kind. Revenge. The quiet kind. The steady kind. The kind that doesn't rush or scream. The kind that makes people realize, too late, that they messed with the wrong person. I looked at Gus. He looked at me like, finally, some character development. I nodded. Yeah, buddy, it's time. That was the night I stopped being the calm, easy husband she could lie to. That was the night I started planning. Not hate, not anger, just justice. With a little sarcasm on the side. And the funny thing, she had no idea what was coming. The next morning started the way every bad morning starts, with the wrong person acting like nothing happened. And no, I don't mean me. I mean Tessa, who walked into the kitchen wearing my hoodie like she hadn't been dropped off at a hospital by two strangers less than 12 hours ago. She gave me this shy little smile, the same one she used when she wanted me to think she was innocent. Morning. I was standing by the stove making eggs. I don't even like eggs in the morning. I was only making them so she wouldn't ask me why I wasn't eating. Normal people cook breakfast, right? And I was a normal man with a very normal marriage. Sure. Morning, I said, stirring the pan. My voice sounded calm, casual, like a man thinking about work, not about divorce lawyers or private investigators. She paused. I could feel her eyes on my back. Ethan, can we please not start with that? Start with what? I asked, turning around slowly with the spatula in my hand. She swallowed, then looked down at the table. You left me alone at the hospital. Ah, yes, her favorite move. Twist the story until she becomes the victim and I become the bad guy. I didn't even blink. Oh, I thought you were doing fine. You seemed in good company all night. Her face tightened. That's not fair. You know I didn't mean for any of that to happen. Of course. Accidents happen. People slip. People fall. People accidentally end up with two guys who accidentally drive them to the automatic doors. Happens all the time. She didn't have a response. Good. Silence suits her. I set the plate of eggs in front of her. She was surprised. You made breakfast? Sure, I said with a smile that felt glued on. Why wouldn't I? She stared at me like she was trying to read my mind, which, to be fair, would have been easier before last night, back when my mind only held normal things like grocery lists and the names of her annoying coworkers. Now my brain looked like the inside of a courtroom. Evidence everywhere, notes, plans, little sticky tabs labeled "Get her fired" and "Expose everyone." She took a slow bite. These are good. Thanks, I said. I use salt. Her eyes narrowed. Are you okay? That question almost made me laugh. Why wouldn't I be? My wife went out for fun, drank herself stupid, got banged up, and two strangers dropped her at a hospital. Totally normal Wednesday night. Her fork froze halfway to her mouth. Can you not say it like that? Say it like what? I asked. Honestly? She looked at the wall, then at the floor, then at her own hands. Anywhere except me. I said I was sorry. Right, and I heard you, loud and clear. Not sure what part I'm supposed to forget, though. Was it the strangers part, the drunken blackout part, or the fact that you listed someone else as your emergency contact? Her cheeks turned red. I told you, I don't even remember doing that. Well, I said, clearing the table, you seem to remember a lot more when you talked to the doctor. You were very organized, apparently. She flinched like I'd slapped her with a clipboard. I washed the dishes slowly, keeping my expression calm. Inside, my brain was sprinting through ideas. A PI, a divorce lawyer, evidence folders, screenshots, security camera footage from the hospital entrance. Trust me, I wasn't just washing dishes. I was preparing for war. Behind me, Tessa stood. I want to talk about last night, she said. Fantastic. I love fictional stories in the morning. She bristled. I'm serious. I think someone spiked my drink.
Oh, both of them? At the same time? How lucky. She blinked, confused. Both what? I dried my hands. The two men. You know, the ones who dropped you off. Did they spike to drink together, teamwork? Or did one spike it and the other said, "Don't worry, bro, I'll carry her ankles"? Her jaw actually dropped. Why are you being like this? Like what? I said. Logical? She groaned and walked past me, grabbing her bag from the counter. I'm going to take a shower. We can talk later. Looking forward to it. She stomped down the hallway, and a few seconds later I heard the shower turn on. The second she disappeared, I pulled her phone from my pocket. Yes, I took it. Call me petty. Or smart. Or a husband who just realized his wife's girls' nights were actually let's ruin my marriage nights. The phone was dead. I plugged it in. When it came to life, the lock screen stared back at me. I typed the passcode. Her birthday. Classic. Her texts were a goldmine of stupidity. More messages than last night, things I didn't scroll far enough for. There was one thread labeled M. M could have stood for Michael, Mark, maybe moron. Whoever he was, he definitely wasn't a coworker. Messages popped up. Last night was crazy. You sure your husband won't find out? We should do it again, but in Dallas next time. Dallas. Wow. She was expanding her cheating radius. Impressive. I took screenshots. Lots. If the phone exploded in my hand, I still had enough proof to sink a submarine. Then I checked her banking app. I laughed. Out loud. She booked hotel rooms with my credit card again. I saved those too. The shower turned off. I slid her phone back exactly where I found it, middle of the counter, screen down. She walked into the room wearing a towel and a fake Fresh Start smile. Do you want to go out tonight? Maybe we can reconnect? Reconnect. Oh, the irony. You want to reconnect, I repeated, like a man reading a cereal box.
She nodded. We can go somewhere nice, just us, make up for last night. I think that's a great idea, I said, with a smile that felt like it should be illegal. Her face brightened. Really? Yes. Perfect. She walked over and kissed my cheek. I didn't even flinch. She smelled like shampoo and guilt. I'll make reservations, she said, picking up her phone. Good, I said. Just pick somewhere with good lighting. She frowned. Why lighting? So people can see us, I said. You know, reconnecting. She didn't catch the sarcasm. Of course not. When she left the kitchen, I sat down with my laptop and opened a folder titled Tessa Files. Yes, I really named it that, and yes, I felt like a detective in a crime show, except the crime was my marriage. Inside, I pasted every screenshot, every photo, every bank statement. Then I added a note on the top. This folder exists because my wife is an idiot. At noon, I called in sick to work. Not because I was sick, because I was busy planning the slow demolition of Tessa's world. I called a PI. Friendly guy. Sounded like he ate nails for breakfast. I need surveillance on my wife, I said. He didn't even hesitate. What's her schedule? Look at that. Professional. I gave him everything. Where she worked, where she liked to hang out, the coworker she flirted with, the hotel names she seemed to love so much she should have had a loyalty membership. He took notes the whole time. We'll get started tomorrow. Good, I said. Make sure you get pictures. She loves pictures. After that, I printed the credit card statements, then the text screenshots, then the photos.
My printer was sweating by the time I was done. By evening, the kitchen table looked like an FBI investigation scene. At 5, Tessa came out of the bedroom wearing a dress I bought her last summer. She looked at the table, looked at me. "What's all that?" "Oh, I slided the papers aside casually. "Just work stuff." She nodded, relieved. "Are you ready to go?" "Absolutely." We drove to the restaurant in silence. She thought it was peaceful silence. It wasn't. It was the silence you hear before a building explodes. She reached for my hand halfway there. I let her. She smiled. I smiled too, but for very different reasons. She had no idea the ground under her feet was already cracking. And the best part? She wouldn't even see the fall coming.
The thing about revenge is, it doesn't always arrive with fire and explosions. Sometimes it walks in wearing a blazer, carrying a folder, and asking your cheating wife to sit down. That's how it happened for me. A week after our reconnection dinner, everything I'd been pretending not to know came together in one beautiful, destructive moment. The PI delivered photos. She delivered texts on a silver platter. Her bank app delivered receipts, and her own stupidity delivered the rest. I had a meeting with a divorce lawyer at noon. I didn't tell her, of course. She thought we were healing. You know, like some cheap couples retreat brochure. The lawyer loved my documentation. She actually said, "You made my job very easy." And I'm not going to lie, that made my whole week. Maybe my whole year. The plan was simple. No shouting, no drama from my side. Just facts. Cold and sharp. The kind of truth that slices without raising its voice. Tessa came home early that day. She had that soft, guilty smile on her face again, the one she used when she was about to lie. Except this time, I didn't have to pretend anything. "Hey," she said, setting her bag down. "You're home early." "Yes," I said. "We need to talk." Her whole body stiffened. Nothing scares a guilty person more than those 4 words. She sat down slowly, like her knees were about to quit. "What's wrong?" I slid the folder across the table. Just 1 inch, just enough for her to see her own name in the corner. She hesitated before opening it, like she already knew the monster inside was her. The first page was a printed screenshot of her texting M. "Last night was crazy. Let's do Dallas next time." She went pale. She flipped to the next page. Photos. Not the fun kind. The PI had caught her hugging a guy outside a bar, kissing him, whispering in his ear like she didn't have a husband at home feeding the dog. Her breath hitched. "Ethan, where did you get these?" Public places have cameras. People have eyes. You're not as sneaky as you think. She flipped another page. Hotel charges. My card. Over and over. "Look, I can explain." "You've explained enough," I said calmly. "Now I'm explaining." I pulled out the envelope with the divorce papers. Her hand flew to her chest. "No, Ethan, please, don't do this." "Tessa, you had 2 men take you to the ER and still thought you could save this marriage with brunch reservations. I gave you 10 years. You gave me lies and a hospital bill." She wiped her eyes. "I made mistakes." "You made a lifestyle. I corrected. Big difference." She grabbed my arm. "Please, Ethan, I'll change. I'll stop. We can fix this." I pulled my arm away. "We're not fixing anything. We're finishing it." She started crying harder, like tears were going to reverse the fact she ruined her own life. "You're just going to leave?" she whispered. "No," I said. "I already left. I just happen to still be in the house."
She collapsed into the chair, shaking. What am I supposed to do? I shrugged. Maybe call your emergency contact. That one hit her. Hard. She covered her face with both hands. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and called Gus to follow me. The dog didn't even look back at her. Smart guy. He always preferred the stable human anyway. At the door, she said my name one last time. Quiet. Broken. Ethan? Please. I stopped. Looked over my shoulder. You should have thought about this before Dallas. And that was it. The end of a marriage built on pretending. The beginning of a life that actually felt honest again. I walked out the door with my dog at my side and a future that suddenly felt wide open. No more lies, no more games, no more stupid surprises at 1 a.m. Just peace. Real peace. The kind you don't have to pretend to feel. Revenge didn't give me joy. It gave me clarity. And honestly, that was enough.